Hello lovely learners, welcome back to ALifeLearned. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about my puppy. If you guys remember me introducing him a few videos ago, I can't remember exactly which one it was. The development that he's gone through, the outcome thus far, and what's going to be happening with him in the future. So to start off, he was just sort of an opportunistic situation where my mother came upon a sort of rescue situation. Someone needed to keep their dog who had just given birth somewhere else because it was fighting with another dog who had just given birth, something along those lines. And so my mother ended up taking it on, and then through this she ended up selling the puppies in order to pay for the care of the puppies because she never got any support from the person who had brought them. And so to that regard, I asked my partner if he wanted to look into it, and we'd been talking about getting a dog, and so seeing as he had gotten a better job, we decided to go for it. It was sooner than we had originally planned. Like, I wasn't exactly ready in terms of my therapy and stuff to handle that kind of stress, but the opportunity was there, so we decided to jump on it. Brought him home after 9 weeks because, well, we would have brought him home at 8 weeks, but the house literally wasn't ready because we had just moved in. Got the house as ready as I could because I didn't want him like going through boxes and stuff. Brought him home, got him into the vet immediately, got him into puppy classes at Petsmart immediately, and started going crazy immediately. I did all kinds of research because that's what I believe to do whenever you start a new thing in life. You should look up and find as much information about it as you can and find people who have done it and, you know, talk to them and ask for advice and gather as much data as you possibly can, you know? So that's what I did. Probably the most helpful thing I got out of everything was I had a friend on Facebook suggest that I look up Zach George on YouTube. So for anyone who is ever looking to have a puppy or a dog of any kind, if you're having any dog issues, if you want to try a new food or snack, you want to try and teach them something, a new trick, Zach George is your guy. He is very positive, upbeat, awesome. Kind of pushes ads a lot, but you know, that's YouTube, that's how they make money. But that aside, he's great, and he offers entirely professional training advice completely for free, other than, you know, having to watch his ads. So, yes, number one tip, go check him out. He helped me so much. But, even though he was offering almost basically all the same advice that I ended up getting in class, having hands-on help from a trainer was really big because I didn't have confidence. It was my first time, was a big thing. So I didn't have confidence in a lot of things I was trying to do that Zach was suggesting to do. And so to have the trainer reinforce a lot of those things or show me like different ways of doing the same thing that Zach was suggesting was just really helpful. And I was also able to just talk to her about like the particular problems Zuko might have been having or things, particular behaviors he was showing and doing and how we could respond to that. For example, crating him. I was trying really hard to do it slow. I was researching that if you do it slow enough, they should not have any stress at all and they'll just be completely fine with it. But Zuko is very attached to me, and I spent like all my time with him constantly. I would always monitor him because Zach George says you should never leave them alone unless crated up to like 6 or 9 months. And so I was doing that. And so through that attachment, and because I was way overly responsive to Zuko's crying in the first couple months, I don't advise doing that, he just would cry constantly when I'd leave him in the crate initially. So we had to have a little lesson where I had to like tell him crying is wrong, be quiet, and then teaching him that when he's in there he is to be quiet, that is his space, and he stays in there until I say. Now he loves it. He goes in there whenever he wants just to hang out and sleep or play with his toys, and has absolutely no problem going into his crate. Loves his crate. And the trainer says overall it teaches him boundaries. So I feel like it was a good idea. He's a damn saint when it comes to chewing on things. Like, he doesn't. He's never chewed on something he shouldn't. Or like, I think he did once, ever. But other than that, like, he just doesn't. So, yeah, felt really good that we did that right. But overall, within the first month of doing the training, I realized I couldn't pursue making him a service dog. I wanted that more than anything. That was my original goal. But for one, I talked to a trainer who helps people train their dogs to be service dogs, and she suggested his breed was not a good breed. Like she initially was like, okay, well, you have to get this, this, or this, and I was like, oh, well, I already have a puppy, and she's like, I mean, it's not that you can't make him a service dog, it's just he's a very protective breed, so they can have issues, and they do have a high rate of failure when it comes to the service dog test, because there's a like certified test here in Canada. Clarify with the service dog thing. So if you ever go to look this up on the internet, you'll come to find that you can find a lot of different websites where you just pay a fee with your credit card and they mail you the service dog coat, the service dog certificate, the service dog this, that, the other thing. And what they put on the website is, we are taking you, something along the lines of, we are taking you at your word that you're being honest and sharing proper information that this is a true service dog when you order this stuff. But there are thousands of people who think that just by doing, like, filling out that information and getting the certificate and the coat, they have now made their dog a service dog. And that is not how it works at all. At least not in Canada. They have very strict regulations on what a service dog is, how they perform, and like I said, they have a test, and there are lots and lots of failed service dogs, which are really, really well-trained dogs, but they're too protective, too friendly, too aggressive. Like there's lots of different reasons that a dog will fail and otherwise have all the training it needs. But they're very strict about it. So that's an unfortunate issue because it's not really properly regulated. So lots and lots of people will just shove a service dog thing on their dog to bring it on a plane or bring it in a restaurant. But like, if that dog isn't constantly in a heel and always laying down directly under the seat or under the table, and always, like, almost always following the owner's demands, that's not a service dog. And now there's service dogs in training. Like, I follow one on Instagram, that's a thing, and they have issues with maintaining certain instructions because they're learning, but they still are, like, exponentially better than the average dog. And so, like, there's this one person downtown in London who I've seen him a lot, and I've actually had a bit of a tiff with him because I said I stupidly confronted him and accused him of having a fake service dog, and he's like, "Oh, this is a real service dog, this is my service dog, how dare you." He was very mentally ill, so he like screamed in my face about it, and I just remained calm and was like, yes, because the person who's screaming is obviously the one who is right in the situation. But anyway, his dog like pulls away from him all the time. It doesn't sit when it's on the bus. It doesn't do a heel whatsoever. It jumps at people. Like, there's a lot of things that it does that a service dog doesn't do, you know? He's mentally ill and he definitely needs a service dog, but that dog is not a service dog. He just went and bought the coat off the internet and bam. Anyway, yeah. So that's an issue with that whole subject, if you're not aware. But I, after, doing a lot of research and pursuing it, realized that I personally did not have the mental capacities to manage trying to train a service dog. Like, the training is so intense. And the training I did with Zuko ended up still being very intense, honestly. And like, more than I could handle. It was really, really hard on my mental health. Probably overall a bad idea for where I was in my development. I would say that now. And so if you feel vulnerable to your stress levels, like if you are easily irritable or agitated still, I would not advise getting a puppy. Get yourself a fully trained 1-year-old or something. Like, adopt an adult. There's nothing wrong with that. And dogs can be so great because now he's only 11 months old. He turns a year old on June 18th, and or I should say 11 months old as of recording this. But anyway, he is doing amazing. It was really interesting. So he did all 3 stages of Petsmart. So he graduated advanced classes with honors, according to the trainer. And we were going to put him into PetSmart's emotional support animal training as well, because that is still could be a very supportive and helpful thing to me. But here's the bad news. I unfortunately can't afford to keep Zuko. I've basically been the one to do the bulk of the training and the work because I've been the one at home on disability, right, where my partner has been working. But my partner, you know, he's contributed as much as he can when he does come home after working a 9-hour day. It's just the fact of the matter is he has a very good full-time job, and I'm on disability. So I can't afford to properly support a pet. He's already had 2 vet trips that were kind of expensive, and I mean they're completely affordable for my partner, no problem. But like on my income, it would have been my grocery money. Both of those trips would have just taken my grocery money, gone, sort of thing. And you know, I've thought about maybe I could juggle it on my credit card, but the new place that I'm going to is much smaller. It doesn't have a front lawn. It's on the 3rd floor of a building, and yeah, there's so many reasons why it would actually be better and healthier for Zuko, who is the one I think is the most important in making this decision, if he stayed with my partner. And you know, it was funny because my partner, when we were first talking about this, he kind of broke down crying, and he's like, you have to keep Zuko. We can't let you not keep him. You already lost Deckham, my family dog. You can't lose Zuko too. And it's a shitty idea to think about that, but what's good for Zuko is what matters most. And that's what I believe every pet owner should do. I'm not abandoning my Zuko. I'm doing what's best for him. I'm leaving him with his daddy, who will take good care of him. It is hard though. I've been having a really hard time with it because even though he drove me absolutely insane in the first 6 months, like I said, he's been making some exponential improvements since like month 7, 8. Like just everything's been starting to click the last couple months. We got him a halty, which made it a lot easier to walk him, because like my fibro has made walking really difficult because he's a Cane Corso Bullmastiff mix. He's a fucking big dog. You know, 90 so pounds. So like it's been hard on me and my arms and my pain. It's made me pretty damn angry at times how much it hurts to walk him, but he has improved and the halty has really helped the situation, so it's gotten a lot better. And he was starting to have a little bit of confidence issues apparently. Like he came with confidence issues, and then I tried to address it by just like, I would hug people that he was growling or feeling uncomfortable with, and that seemed to like make him okay, and he's like, oh okay, you like them, I like them. But after a while that stopped working, and he just was very uncomfortable by people and uneasy by them, specifically in his home. Outside of the house he was pretty okay, but inside the home. And so I called around and we were going to hire a trainer to figure the situation out, but then a very awesome trainer here in London from K9 Concepts, anyone interested, it's K9 Concepts. She spent 40 minutes on the phone with me talking to me about his issues, and she got all kinds of information from me about him. And in the end she's like, it sounds like you guys are doing a really good job with him. Like basically everything's good. You just need to reintroduce the treats more, because we had sort of taken the treat training, we'd cut it down a lot. She's like, you need to amp up the treat training, and you just need to amp up instructing him when he's uneasy, because the reason he's growling and starting to like do the and then bark is because he's expressing, I'm feeling uneasy. And by you telling him wrong, don't, bad, you're just telling him you expressing to me that you're feeling uneasy is wrong and bad, and you don't want to tell your child that, right? You want them to communicate to you when they're feeling uncomfortable. So she's like, what you need to do is make him feel confident, make him feel better, like he's a good, okay boy in whatever situation he's feeling uncertain about. So when he starts expressing uncertainty now, we just start instructing him: sit, lay down, touch, stand, back up. He knows all those. You know, whatever. He's a very well-trained doggy. He's just got a few issues, but he's doing really good. He's been progressing really well, and I'm very proud of him. And we've discussed that even though I'm moving July, I'm going to help take care of him for the rest of the summer until school starts, and then I'm going to juggle whatever free time I might have to come visit him and somewhat help with walks and stuff, because, you know, we still think it's reasonable to work together to take care of him. And you know, I don't know what the future might bring, but for now, wasn't able to make him a service dog, wasn't able to even make him an emotional support animal, but he is the most cuddly puppy I have ever encountered, because I just walk over to him and give him huge hugs and like bury my face in his neck and all kinds of pets like 10 times a day. It's just who I am. So he's very used to cuddles, and is just such a cuddly, sucky little puppy. And to that regard, I really think he's been great for my PTSD and for my depression, because he's made me laugh when I'm sad. He's brought me out outside when I didn't want to go, and made me see beautiful things in nature when I didn't want to be outside. You know, butterflies and birds and stuff. And he's taught me a lot about animals, and he's just been a really awesome source of endorphins, because I can go and hug him and love him whenever I wanted and needed. It's going to be hard not having him around once I move, but he's not completely out of my life. My partner said he's fine with me staying in his life, so that's the sitch. If you'd like any more advice regarding owning a puppy, I would be more than happy to offer anything and everything that I have learned. Although, again, I'm not a professional on the subject. I've just done a ton of research and done my absolute best for Zuko. But if you'd like to consult a professional, Zach George is your man. He's great. Very, very awesome. Anyways, yeah. So it's a bit of a sad ending, but at the same time, it's not an ending, like I said. I'm still going to be in his life. He's going to have the best possible care. And that's what I think is most important. So yeah, if you can relate, if you've had a puppy, or a dog, or a Cane Corso Bullmastiff, anything like that, please feel free to comment below. If you have any questions about my experience with Zuko, or trying to raise him, or the whole service dog, emotional support animal thing, there's a lot of differences between those different terms in dogs as well. So feel free to comment below and ask questions about that. But by the way, Zach George has a video on that, so do check that out. Yeah, no, I'll leave the service dog video down in the comments. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a lovely day as always, and please do join me again next week or sometime soon, where I try again to share a little something I've learned or experienced in life.